What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barça Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 24 hours. First up, we have updates in regards to all of Barcelona's targets in the left wing position. Who is the priority? Who are the alternative options? We'll give you guys the updates around that. Secondly, on Kimmich, who is set to leave Bayern Munich at some point, whether it'll be this summer or next summer remains to be seen. But him and Bayern Munich's relationship is at an all-time low, and again, a departure is very, very, very likely. And of course, that gives an advantage somewhat to Barcelona. We have an update on the future of Araujo as well, with the club a bit worried about potential interest from Manchester United. We have a future update on Ansu Fati as well, and how he plans to get his physical condition up in order to impress Hansi Flick in pre-season training. Updates on the lone players coming back as well, like Eric Garcia, Juan Araujo, Alex Valle. Update on the future of Inigo Martinez. Kit update as well, when the new home kit will be released. Barcelona securing another big deal sponsor-wise, so help retain and get to the 1-1 rule in terms of financial fair play in La Liga. Big updates finally on pre-season as well, the set dates for pre-season, and also when we'll hear the first words of Hansi Flick properly as the manager, since of course his announcement as the new manager. Before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 24 hours. Firstly, we do have some updates around Barcelona's pursuit in the left wing position, with a few targets being mentioned in the media recently. First one up is Jadon Philogene. Of course, that was the big news yesterday about how Barcelona are tracking him as an option for the left wing, left winger that's English from the championship. But Fabrizio Romano came out saying that at the moment nothing is done or agreed upon for Jadon Philogene. There has only been discussions between the clubs and the players' agents. Barcelona are aware of the conditions in order to get the deal done. Several Premier League clubs are interested, including Ipswich Town and West Ham. The player also has the possibility of returning to Aston Villa in the future due to a clause that is currently in his contract. So again, just interest, nothing really concrete. Again, it's quite clear that Barcelona may look at him as an option if they don't get their main target. So again, that's where the current stance is right now on Jadon Philogene. I don't even think he's probably the next in line to our main option. I'd say he's quite a bit down the way, but an option nonetheless that you keep your eyes upon if, of course, he does not make that move elsewhere, and he's still available when we failed maybe one or two options. But of course, the main target is Nico Williams. Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that any club that wants to trigger Nico Williams' release clause of 58 million euros would have to go up to around 60 as well due to taxes, would have to pay it all up front in one installment immediately. The player is already on massive wages, meaning an even bigger salary would be needed to convince Nico Williams to change his club. Now, in regards to the first part, that makes sense. You're looking at around 60 with taxes and all this add-on fees from the release clause that you have to pay up front. Now, Barcelona, of course, have this kind of idea to offer a bit more than the release clause. That way they can pay in installments, because paying in installments will still benefit Barcelona on the long term if we add a few extra million to the deal. But it looks like if that's not the case, Athletic Club will stay really firm on the payment being all at once immediately. Now, on the player side, in terms of the salary, apparently at Athletic Club he earns around 150,000 euros a week according to reports. I'd offer him the same salary. I think the same salary, if not less, is fair. If you want to go a bit over that, maybe to 180, then sure, but I'm not worried about the salary of Nico Williams. I think once he sees that Barcelona have activated his release clause, if informed the Athletic Club they'll pay it, or they've reached an agreement, whatever the case may be, there's no way I see him making his move to Barcelona super difficult. He already knows all the players, he's friends with everyone, and he also knows that all the Barcelona fans around the world, I'd say easily above 90% of them, wants him. So I don't see that. I don't see him, let's say we activate his release clause, I don't see him saying to Barcelona, oh, I want 250,000 euros per week to come, even though he's currently around, according to reports, 150. I don't think he'll do that whatsoever. I think this is, not a smokescreen, but more so the journalists predicting. So right now he's on a big salary, so for him to move clubs, it would make sense for him to ask for more salary than he currently on, which does make sense. But I think for Barcelona, it's always a different perspective. So we'll see on that. Again, it comes down now to Barcelona making the move at this point. We already know the conditions and everything like that. Comes down to us making that initial contact with the club about the release clause, or making a bid that's more than release clause and paid installments, whatever the case may be. Now, the final left wing option that we do have an update on is on Dani Olmo. Now, Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that Dani Olmo has a release clause of 60 million euros that is valid until July the 15th. Barcelona and several Premier League clubs continue to monitor the Spanish midfielder's situation. Now, also, Inigo Martinez and Mundo Deportivo has come out saying that Man City are actually leading the race and speeding up negotiations on the transfer of Dani Olmo and is trying to finalize his arrival at some point next week. Dani Olmo did speak in the media with Spain. Again, they just speak to media left, right, and center, but he's basically saying that, yeah, we'll see what happens in my future. A lot of clubs interested, but, you know, I'm happy at RB Leipzig if I do end up staying there and all. Just sitting his, you know, devil's advocate, his Arsenal right up the fence, sat in the middle. So we'll see what happens with his future. Good player, but definitely for me, not someone I would spend 60 million on. I'd rather spend 60 million on Amadou Onana. I'd rather spend 60 million euros on Nico Williams. I'd rather spend 60 million euros. To be honest, I'd rather spend 40 million euros on Jeremy Frimpong than 60 million on Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo, for me, like I've been saying a lot and being consistent about, he is a luxury signing. He is someone that you come in that you already add to a good squad to make it competitive and give you, you know, some depth and stuff like that. He's not someone you add to a team that's lacking in areas. That's just my opinion. So we'll wait and see what happens with Barcelona in regards to their pursuit of a left wing. It's quite clear that Nico Williams is top dog alongside Luis Diaz and Dani Olmo. Then you get into your Bakayokos, your Diao from Betis, and also Jadon Philogene as well. Now, along with a left winger, another priority for Barcelona this summer, of course, will be to reinforce the midfield, and one of the main targets has been Joshua Kimmich. We do have some reports coming in Germany about his future, not directly linking him to Barcelona per se, but a big update on his future. Firstly, Bild came out saying that Joshua Kimmich is not part of Bayern Munich's plans in the midfield position next season, and everything right now points to an exit. Plenty Go of Sky Germany also confirmed this as well, saying that Joshua Kimmich could leave Bayern this summer with a suitable offer coming in. No plans from Bayern Munich about a contract renewal beyond 2025. An exit is getting closer now or next year at the latest for free. Kimmich will be ready to leave Bayern Munich in the final year of his contract, but he'll only leave if he joins either Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, or Barcelona. Now, there's been reports as well from Germany, I believe it was from Bild, saying that Bayern Munich want around 30 to 40 million euros for Joshua Kimmich. Now, I'll say this. I've been saying a lot that, I wouldn't pay for Joshua Kimmich anywhere more than, 40, 30 million for Joshua Kimmich. If Hansi Flick really wants him, it's not a bad deal in my opinion. Yes, I think 30 million, like total, like package, you want to put variables, I wouldn't go more than 30 million euros. But if it's a player that firstly Hansi Flick wants, if it's a player that is a cheaper option than the likes of Onana that's going to be available for 60, Bruno Guimaraes, who's going to be available for what, like 70, something like that. Mikel Merino, about the same price as well. So I think Hansi Flick should have that say. If he wants Kimmich for 30 million, by all means. If he says, you know what, I'm happy with whoever you bring in from this list per se, then maybe you can go for a Mikel Merino for a bit cheaper, whatever the case may be. But for 30 million this summer, Joshua Kimmich, I'm not totally against it. I think it's better to get him on a free deal next summer, of course, if we're still interested. But if the club think he's going to be revolutionary now and Hansi Flick is, talking about him and, glazing him, then, 30 million is not too bad. The only worry I have about Kimmich is two things. One, if we're signing him to be a pure pivot, don't even bother. And secondly, again, the really bugging one for me, his attitude behind the scene, I think could ripple the family environment that we do have. So hopefully that's not going to be the case, but we'll wait and see. It's nothing guaranteed. I just realized I spelled leave wrong there in the caption. My bad. Not going to change it. So we'll see what happens with Kimmich's future, but it's quite clear right now that a departure between Kimmich and Bayern Munich is heavily expected at some point in the next year, whether it's going to be this summer, of course, or next summer. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 24 hours. First up already is it a confirmed exit in Marc Guiu, who is set to join Chelsea. According to Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea are going to be paying their release clause at some point by the end of this week. They've already informed Barcelona they're going to pay it. They've already agreed personal terms with Guiu. Green light all around. Just now waiting for that release clause to be paid to Barcelona, which is expected by the end this week. Now, Fabrizio Romano also came out saying that Barcelona really tried to extend Marc Guiu's contract to improve his salary and release clause. They made more than 2 proposals to the player in recent months to change the outcome, but Guiu was convinced he was going to play for Chelsea. So Barcelona tried. You can't say we didn't try. And if you know what, he likes the guarantees of Chelsea and the money from Chelsea, fair enough to him. I wish him nothing but the best. If he's going to be the backup striker or third choice striker for Chelsea, then I can see why he's accepted it, but I have a funny suspicion that we will see him leave on loan in the next year from Chelsea. Whether he comes back to Spain or goes to France or whatever the case may be, I don't see him as, you know, the backup option for Chelsea. But if Chelsea really want to give him the realms, I mean, wish him nothing but the best. If you know, if you're let's say I'm a Barcelona fan, right? I'm growing up in La Masia, and I'm going to be the third choice striker for Barcelona or second choice for Chelsea on triple the money. I can see why there's a decision to be made. For me personally, of course, Blaugrana zona culés. Like I'm not dipping whatsoever. But you know what? Maybe for a player where he has actually, I'm just saying this as a Barca fan sitting on in front of a camera and stuff like that. But maybe if you're in that position, you have a career ahead of you, you got to think about your family as well. I can see it, but I just really don't see Guiu being successful at Chelsea, especially with about 4 strikers ahead of him right now in the pecking order. That's how I just see it. If this was like to any other club whatsoever, I wouldn't be, opposed to it. It's just about the destination, how he left as well. Barcelona wanted to keep him, made him good offers as well, but he still said no in the end for guarantees of first team minutes and more money. So we'll wait and see what happens with Guiu. Wish nothing but the best next season, and we'll wait and see how he performs at Chelsea. Now, from one striker to another for Barcelona, we do have some updates coming in about the future of Vitor Roque. The Marzio has come out saying that Florentina remains in contact for Vitor Roque. The Italian team is only open to incorporating the Brazilian striker if it's a loan with an obligation to purchase linked to certain conditions. Barcelona prefers to sell him, definitely, if that is ending up to be the case. Look, with Guiu leaving, Vitor Roque is doing minimum preseason, and I cannot see him leaving unless Hansi Flick really does not rate him. I think even if he does somewhat decently well, the club will back him. Again, we have other priorities where we can't really focus on going for number 9. Also, you do have Ferran Torres as that kind of utility players. If we keep Joao Felix as well, he can potentially do a job there against the lower sides if needs be, if there are injuries. Ansu Fati can play as well if he does end up staying or not. So I see Vitor Roque little to no chance leaving Barcelona this summer unless Hansi Flick himself tells Barcelona that he needs a loan move, that he does not rate him right now, that he needs some development elsewhere. That's the only way I can see Vitor Roque leaving the club this summer. But for now, several Italian clubs knocking on the door, showing strong interest in Vitor Roque, but his future will not be decided until after preseason. Now, the player at the moment that is the closest to the exit door, but not really that close to the exit door, is Mikayil Faye. Now, despite a lot of the media, especially in Portugal and the neutral media, your Mateo Morito, your Fabrizio Romano, really pushing on the fact that this deal is actually closed, the Catalunya media are still on the reverse side, saying that this deal is not close whatsoever. Fernando Polo of Mundo Deportivo came out saying there's no need to sell before the end of the 23-24 financial year, and therefore Barcelona are not in a hurry to complete the Mikayil Faye move to Porto. They would prefer Hansi Flick to have a look at him during the preseason before taking a definitive decision. He also mentioned as well that Porto's offers only about 5 million euros that can reach with variables to 10 million euros. Now, if that's the case, that offer is nothing short of absolute pathetic. We paid 5 million for Mikayil Faye. You're offering us the same amount. You're offering, barely a return on investment. Absolutely no way. So again, if a big offer comes in, the club I think will sell him. Again, the Fabrizio Romanos, Mateo Moritos are saying that look, this 50 million euro bid is on the table. But Fernando Polo, Sport, Mundo Deportivo are saying that look, the club are telling us this bid is not on the table whatsoever. Of course, remember, Barcelona legendary goalkeeper Zubaretti is the sporting director of Porto, so he's the one negotiating this deal. So we'll see how things turn out. But from the club, they're saying that look, this deal is not advanced, and the plan is still to see Mikayil Faye during preseason under Hansi Flick. But everyone else is saying that this deal is very close. So we'll wait and see who's right and who's wrong. Now, a player that is still planning on staying at Barcelona this summer is Inigo Martinez. Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that Inigo Martinez's future at Barcelona is not guaranteed. The club would struggle to register him with the financial fair play regulations. However, the player himself has no plans to leave. The club has not warned him about anything yet. So the club kind of see it a bit of doubt. Again, there's going to be that big question mark from Hansi Flick on who to select for Barcelona. I think he wants to probably keep one of Inigo or Eric Garcia. But again, the club are thinking probably it's best to move him on, especially with the wages he's on, his age and stuff like that. But again, Inigo Martinez is in an absolute fantastic position for himself because he's on money. The money is guaranteed. He can play for Barcelona or play for 5th division Barca Boy FC, and he'll still get paid that same amount of money. So he's in a very good position. So we'll see how things do turn out. Again, like a lot of these decisions are going to be coming during preseason when Hansi Flick gets to see the players firsthand and make his choice based on his own opinion. Now, speaking on Eric Garcia, we do have an update on some of the loan players returning for Barcelona and what the plan is currently for them. This is coming in from Mundo Deportivo. They came out with a report talking about each player. Firstly, On Eric Garcia, they are reporting that Eric Garcia will do preseason under Hansi Flick. The player's intention also is to stay at Barcelona. So that's going to be interesting. Again, we already know, talked about it on the channel, that Hansi Flick is going to have to decide to pick one to keep between Inigo and Eric. We'll wait and see on that. Also, the club will not sign a left back this summer, and the idea is to bring Alex Faye back as Alejandro Balde's backup, and Barcelona have informed him that he will do preseason under Hansi Flick. And finally, on Araujo, Barcelona are counting on Araujo and the plans that he will be part of the squad. However, depending on how Hansi Flick sees him in person during preseason and proposals that could arrive for him, his situation could change. He has a contract until 2026. Araujo's future is still uncertain. The player will do preseason with the first team, but the club will listen to offers for the player. Of course, that's the case for everyone. We talked about this, of course, with Gundogan a few days ago. That's no worry whatsoever. So again, all these three players are expected to do preseason with the first team, and it remains to be seen again, for the billionth time in this video, what Hansi Flick's final decision will be. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. First update we do have is on the contract renewal of Araujo, and yet again the club are transmitting to the media that they're a bit worried and pessimistic about Araujo's future. Sport came out saying there is a huge uncertainty at Barcelona regarding Araujo. The club wants to sell his future before July, but believe Manchester United have intensified steps within the last few hours to go and sign him. Now, I said this on yesterday's video, I'll say it again. I'm not worried about clubs coming in and being interested. I think Barcelona are a better team in a healthier situation than Manchester United sporting wise. If Araujo leaves this summer, it is 100% solely and strictly on the money, unless he goes to a Bayern Munich, unless he goes to maybe an Arsenal or a Man City or something like that. But those clubs are not interested in Araujo. It's all the clubs that are just below Barcelona, sporting economic wise. Your Manchester Uniteds, your Tottenhams, like your PSG, stuff like that, where the sporting project of Barcelona is going to be greater, of course. Those kind of teams are the ones that are interested in Araujo. So if you want to take a step down, by all means, have a crack, get your money, whatever the case may be. Deciding his future before July, though, is not going to happen. He will not decide his future. The talks will not advance until he returns from the Copa America. That is almost certain. I think the plan should be to hopefully seal his renewal by the end of the transfer window, September the 1st. That should be the main goal for the club. July is just unrealistic whatsoever. There's absolutely zero chance that happens, in my opinion anyway. So we'll see with Araujo. Again, I'm not really worried unless there was a big club. If Bayern Munich was still interested, I would be a little worried, but with Bayern Munich's interest dying down, with Thomas Tuchel leaving, with his company coming in and having other priorities, I'm not worried about Araujo's future whatsoever. Unless someone offers him a ridiculous amount of money, he might change his opinion. But again, that club that's offering him a ridiculous amount of money have to make a very good offer to Barcelona on a transfer fee as well. So wait and see. I don't know his future, but I wouldn't worry too much unless a huge club comes in and makes an offer for the Uruguayan. The final contract renewal update we do have is on the contract renewal of the Barça Athletic manager Rafa Marquez. Of course, he signed a renewal yesterday. We do have some updates on the behind the scenes and how quickly this renewal took place. First, Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona offered a contract renewal to Rafa Marquez a few days before the playoff final against Cordoba, which the manager accepted immediately after. Rafa is happy with the sporting and economic proposal from the club. Sport also came out saying the key factor in Rafa Marquez's renewal is that both the directors of the club and Rafa Marquez himself valued the positive impact the coach had on the locker room. They believe he is the right man to train the players who are one step away from the elite. Could not agree more. I think Rafa Marquez is doing an absolutely fantastic job. You look at the players that he's been coaching for the past 2 years and where the trajectory has gone, whether it's been first team or sales to other clubs as well. He's doing the ideal, perfect job for Barça Athletic, and you cannot be upset with it whatsoever. The only reason, or the only way he was gonna leave anyways, if another club came in that's higher ranked than Barça Athletic and made him also a good proposal, both economically and sportingly as well. I guess no one's come in, and that's why he committed his future for Barça Athletic for 1 more year. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 24 hours. Firstly, an update on the future of Ansu Fati. Again, I have heavy stocks in him, so hopefully it's a positive one. Fernando Polo from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona are clear that a physical plan must be drawn up for Ansu Fati, which would include an initial evaluation of his condition, as he did not have been the desired minutes against Brighton. Barcelona's new physical trainers have a mission with them. Barcelona believe that Ansu Fati must convince himself that he can be an important player for the club. Barcelona would be very satisfied if he returns to his former self. Barcelona's intention is for Flick to see him in preseason and see how the market evolves. The player will try to convince so that the club does not think of an exit for him. If any club offers more than 40 million euros for Ansu Fati, Barcelona would value his sale. Couple things here. Number one, the fact that Barcelona value Ansu Fati at over 40 million euros is crazy to me. I think right now his market value is around 20. I personally would not sell him for anything under 30. So the club are about 10 million, I would say, off his valuation. Secondly, we're getting what we wanted. We wanted Ansu Fati just to have a chance, and it looks like he will get that chance. It's now down to him and his ability and his confidence. You cannot say that, oh, the club forced you out, the club didn't believe you. If he comes and he trains, he's on that plane to America, that's the club saying, here you go, show us what you got, and this is your moment. It's down to him to prove himself. We all know the ability of Ansu Fati. We all watched him back in the day, 2019, 2020, 2021. Ansu Fati was just different gravy, and he got you off your seats. Just before that meniscus tear that, you know, Mendy, you will not see the light of day if I ever see you in person. He was, you know, on top of the world, on the best form, one of the best youngsters in the world. It was ridiculous, and that one injury, of course, set him back for a very long time. And again, those minutes with Brighton over the past few months didn't really give you any confidence as well. But we'll see. The ball's in his court. Hopefully, you know, there's been a lot of videos that have been captured from the media of him training at the Esportiva Joan Gamper every single day, driving in, and you know, the commitment is there. Is now, of course, down to the execution on the pitch and also in the eyes of Hansi Flick. The next update that we do have is on the release of the home kit for next season. Again, the design is already confirmed. We're going to stay with Nike, but the release has been pretty delayed. Now, Fernando Porto from Mundo Deportivo came out saying the club says the delay of the kit release is not related to the contract negotiation, but to logical and productivity issue. But credible sources within the club have said the release of the new kit is already quite set internally. The kit will be available for sale around the 2nd or 3rd week of July, and it will debut on July the 30th in the first friendly game in America against Manchester City. 3 days before the last league match in Sevilla, some Barca players attended a monthly photo shoot at the Ciudad Esportiva for marketing commitments, but they didn't wear the kit for the 24-25 season. The body images will be real, but the kit for next season will be added digitally. No one in Barcelona's dressing room has seen the physical kit yet. This is, of course, confirmed by Memorabilia on Twitter. We talked about this, what was it, 3 or 4 days ago. What they're going to do is, for the promotion wise, they're going to digitally, you know, add the kits onto the players. So it's going to look like absolute wank. And again, the players have never seen the kit yet in person. By now, they should have already recorded, you know, the promotion for the new home kit, and that stuff were probably already leaked by now as well. But again, due to Nike not producing the kits at the right font for the Spotify logo and all this stuff, that's why it was delayed, not because of contract issues or anything like that. So, Nike for what? They've gone 2 of the past 3 years now where they absolutely bottled production of the home kit. I mean, this is why we had the upper hand negotiation. Of course, the year where we first had Spotify, they took a really long time to, you know, print them, and again, we were kind of late to tell them who the sponsor was as well. Season before that, they really didn't produce that many kits. The one with Coleman, and then now this situation. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but you know what? In the end, hopefully, it gave us the upper hand in negotiation, and we'll see how that turns out. But again, the kit should be coming out, should be officially released and announced by the club around the 2nd week, I would say, of July. I would say they would have to do it probably around 10 days before the trip to Man City, to America, because again, the fans want the kits and all that stuff. So we'll see how things turn out, but everything right now is still on track for the kit to be released officially, but it was delayed due to printing and logistical issues from Nike's perspective. Now, speaking about the Nike operation, of course, that being a sponsor, Barcelona have also secured another sponsor that will hopefully help and push for Barcelona to return to the 1-1 rule in regards to financial fair play, with Mundo Deportivo reporting that Barcelona will extend their contract with 1xBet, another step towards achieving the 1-1 rule, which of course is the official betting partner of Barcelona. I think the contract was supposed to be expiring next season, but they renewed it a year early to get that deal over the line. Again, hopefully some bonuses there included that again will help with Barcelona returning to the 1-1 rule. Again, clock is ticking. We're now June 27th. Only have 3 days left for the club to officially release it. But again, today there will be a board meeting where hopefully everything will be sealed and signed for the liberal money to come in, and then the club can announce they will be returning to the 1-1 rule. They've complied with everything that La Liga have asked for. So again, watch out for the updates in tomorrow's video about that board meeting. But again, everything looking well on track with Barcelona returning to the 1-1 rule, especially with the renewal now of this 1xBet partnership. Now, one of the biggest updates that we have gotten over the past 24 hours is all in regards to preseason. Firstly, the club have released the plan for preseason, confirming all the dates for everything to take place. The club released an official statement saying that Barcelona are set to return on July the 10th, the same day that Xavi has set, with the usual medical test to take place that day. Between July the 10th and 28th, the team will travel to USA, with the first game, of course, being on July the 30th against Man City, second game on August the 3rd against Real Madrid, and the third game being on August the 6th against AC Milan. Of course, extra information here for you. The João Gamper will follow the AC Milan game. I believe that will take place August 11th, somewhere like that. Opponent yet to be confirmed as well. So they will return on July the 10th. All the players are on international duty and stuff like that. Medical checkups on July the 10th, and after that, July the 11th, they'll be training week in, week out. Whether Hansi Flick will set double training sessions or what remains to be seen. So we'll wait and see on that. Now, speaking on Hansi Flick, of course, we've not seen or heard from him since he was announced as the new Barcelona manager. And we do have some updates, with Fernando Polo coming out saying that Barcelona doesn't want Hansi Flick to be heavily involved with the media. Due to this reason, the coach will do one interview with Barca 1 at the beginning of preseason and a conference before going to America. And again, I told you guys this when we appointed Hansi Flick. He hates the media, not like the journalists, stuff like that, but just the whole entire media circus, what they do, how they ask questions, how they, set the narratives. He hates all that a lot. Go look at the Bayern Munich All or Nothing documentary, the Germany All or Nothing documentary. You will see it clear as day how much he hates the media. Looks like the club will try and help him with that. Again, that Barca 1 interview is going to be conducted by the club. We're going to be asking him the questions, but that press conference for America, that's when he'll get, of course, questions coming in from the media. And then the day he has to do press conferences, so he has to come prepared for that. So we'll wait and see on that. But Barcelona kind of trying to slowly but surely integrate him into the media, and we'll wait and see how he does fare. But again, the most important thing here is that preseason start date will be about 15 days from now, on July the 10th. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is in regards to the Spain's national team squad list for the Olympics. Of course, this has been heavily talked about, heavily reported around Barcelona over the past few months, and now the answers are all gone, and we know what Barcelona players will be traveling with Spain to the Olympics from July 26th to August 4th, so they will miss the entirety of the US tour for sure. Might come back for the João Gamper again, depending on how far Spain go. But 3 Barcelona players have been called up. The first player called up is Eric Garcia. So how he's going to convince Hansi Flick in preseason training, I have honestly no idea. He has been called up. No issues, of course, with him going since he didn't go to the Euros, and also he's been off for the past month. Second player that's gone up is Pau Cubarsí. Of course, it's already confirmed with Pau Cubarsí not being called up for Spain in the Euros. He was destined to go to the Olympics. Again, no real complaints here. It's just going to suck that we're not going to have him, I would say, for the first maybe few games of La Liga due to him needing a break. He's been on vacation now. Of course, Barcelona tweeting his abs left, right, and center over the past few weeks, but he's going to need that little bit of an extra break coming back from the Olympics. And the final player is Fermin Lopez. He has been called up, and he will probably go. Again, he's, of course, right now with Spain in the Euros. He's played about 10 minutes. The club are worried that he might go there and get injured because, of course, all the training he's doing. He's playing a big role behind the scenes doing training every single day, which I understand, but as long as he has as little to no minutes from now until however far Spain can go, which could be pretty far. They have, of course, quarterfinal, round 16 against Georgia, quarterfinals against probably Germany, semifinals against potentially France, so they could go quite far. This is probably the only worry one I would say out of the 3, but honestly speaking, with him not playing too many minutes, I'm not too bothered with that at all. So overall, I think Barcelona came out as strong in the content situation with the Spain Olympic squad list. Could have been way worse, but you know what? 3 casualties, and of course 2 of them not really big deals. One of them we already knew about, and so was the other one. Just Fermin Lopez is the real question mark, and we'll wait and see how that turns out. But again, those are the casualties, and now we'll see how everything plays out over the next few weeks. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 24 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to see, of course, is your thoughts on those left wing options. Who would you go for as the first option, and who would be your second option with, you know, all the names that we've discussed about? Secondly, your thoughts on Kimmich at his price, 30 million euros, profile as well. Would you go for him or not? Would you leave that decision basically solely based on Hansi Flick? Then your thoughts on the future of Araujo. Are you worried about it with interest coming in from potentially Manchester United? And finally, your thoughts on the future of Ansu Fati. What do you think will happen with him? You think we'll end up selling him, loaning him, or do you think he'll end up performing well in preseason and getting a chance in the first team? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barça.
Yeah.